Okay, so we need to talk about estimating in all the classes, so I thought I'd put a quick video together. I already went through this problem, and I double underlined my keywords here. Every, estimate, about. Estimate and about are the same thing. They're telling us we need to estimate in this problem. Which of the following best describes the steps she would use to estimate? Okay, well, let's look at what she's estimating. She wants to get in the habit of drinking 4/5 cups of water every hour, so we know about 1 hour here. And she wants to do that. What happens if she does it for 5 1/10 hours? So this is one of the situations we had in our gallery walk where we have information about one of something. In this case, we know 4/5 of a cup water in 1 hour, and we have many of them. We have 5 1/10 hours. So we're going to first estimate those, and then we're going to multiply them, because when we know about one and we have many, it's multiplication. Now, if I read my answer choices before I start my problem, I'll realize I don't really need to determine that it's multiplying, because notice A, B, C, and D are all multiplying. For FCAT, with fractions, we need to round to 0, a half, or a whole. 0, half, or whole. So we need to round 4/5 and 5 1/10. So I kind of already started this a little bit here. I wrote the answer to the first one. So we need 4/5 and 5 1/10. I wrote two more here. We'll do it at the end, just to see what happens with them. 4/5 is closest to 1. Let's see how I knew that. Some of you probably knew that intrinsically, but I'm going to show you a strategy at work all the time. Since it's fifths, since my denominator is 5, I made a little number line here. I went from 0 to 5. Each one of these represents a fifth. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5 is 1 whole. We keep talking about the same number over each other, 5 over 5. That means you have 5 pieces, and 5 pieces make a whole, so guess what? You have a whole. We have to figure out where a half is. For this time, 1/2 is actually going to be here between 2 and 3, because half of $5 is $2.50. Half of 5 is 2 1/2. This is a half. If I have 4/5, I'll put my pencil where the 4 is, and what am I closest to? 0, a half, or a whole? Closest to a whole. That's why I put a whole right there. Okay. Now, for 5 1/10, I'm going to do the same thing for the 1/10. The 5 wholes I don't need to worry about right now, just the 1/10. I already figured out where half was. 5 out of 10 is a half, because you could divide both of those by 5, and that's half. Also, if you put your pencil there, you can see there's 4 marks on the left before 0 and 4 marks on the right before 1 whole, so that's the middle, so that's halfway. 1/10. Well, that's pretty easy. I'm only close to 0, so 1/10 is close to 0. So do I round 5 1/10 to 0? No. I'm not going to round the whole thing to 0. I'm only going to round the 1/10 to 0. The 1/10 is worth 0. The 5 is still worth 5. 5 and 0 together, the sum of them is 5. What if it was a different number, though? Instead of 1/10, what if it had been 5 4/10? I want to put my pencil here on the 4, and I would see that's pretty close to a half. So I would say 4/10 is close to half. Am I going to round the whole entire thing to 1/2? No. It's going to be 5 plus about a half. So it's going to be about, that's what the squiggly equal signs mean, by the way. This means about, it's about a half. Close to. Estimated to be. So what if it was 5 8/10? Well, I'm between a half and 1 whole, but I'm more than halfway to 1 whole, so I'm going to bump it up. 8/10 is close to a whole, so would I round this whole thing to 1? No, that doesn't make sense. It's 5 and something. This is going to be 1. 5 and 1 make 6. So let's go back to our problem here. For our problem, we needed these two. We rounded 4/5 to 1 and 5 1/10 to 5. If I look on here, I'll notice on C, round 4/5 to 1 whole, roll it around 5 1/10 to 5. And they all say multiply. So I know the correct answer is C. Okay. Also, before I start the problem, I might notice this one says round to 3/4. FCAT says round to 0, a half, or a whole. So I could cross this one off. If I needed to guess, I won't guess any that say 3/4 or anything like that. It has to be zeros, halves, and wholes, and that's it.